As I ventured on to the last leg of my doctoral journey, it was important I contribute my research to the military community. A peer shared the same sentiment, and we were quickly put in touch with General Brower through the Vanderbilt Network. As we met, we listened intently as he shared. We have a problem we've been trying to tackle for years. Our U.S. military is an untapped talent pool, with 200,000 transitioning each year, with 400, let alone right here from Fort Campbell. This doesn't even include their spouses and children. On the other hand, there's a labor force shortage in Tennessee, and frankly, nationally. We need to figure out how to attract, recruit, and retain our service members and make Tennessee the most veteran-friendly state. Do you think you could figure this out? We looked at each other and were enticed by the challenge. How hard could this be? She was a veteran and military spouse, and coupled with my experience in business and leadership, this would be easy. We shook on it and were on our way. Here I had just undertaken a challenge about a topic I knew nothing about and given my word to a brigadier general. As novice doctoral students, we said, let's look to the literature. For sure, there will be a strategy for reintegration. After leaving no stone unturned, did we uncover two broad themes. First, the stereotypical bias, the veteran is broken narrative. The second, the social support system is difficult to navigate. Lastly, there was a major gap. A unified framework for reintegration nationwide seemingly did not exist. National research revealed 48% find the transition to be harder than expected, 76% find it to be stressful, and 52% find it to be confusing. The Department of Defense spends nearly $1 billion a year on unemployment benefits for the first 15 months of the post-separation period. These numbers suggest a deeper-rooted issue in our society's perception and integration of veterans. Having been raised in New York City, I shamelessly only thought about veterans every November. My partner then shared that she too had difficulty upon transition. She was on unemployment and could only secure work at a dairy farm. It wasn't until recently when I made the revelation she didn't work at a Dairy Queen drive-thru. She meant an actual dairy farm, milking goats. I was in such a bubble, it was embarrassing. And even worse, my military cultural competency was at zero. We soon realized this problem is much bigger than Tennessee. This was a national problem. After interviewing businesses, government officials, transition professionals, service members, veterans, they all shared barriers that our service members face. These barriers fell into three broad categories. We identified as state-level challenges, veteran challenges, and business challenges. The workforce is telling our veterans, you have no experience, as your experience doesn't translate towards state licensure or certification. Or your spouse, who's licensed as an attorney in one state, can't secure work in another. Or your child or spouse won't receive the same educational benefits depending on which state you choose to live in. Each state's policies were different than one another. Some states lacked policy altogether. If you could imagine, transitioning literally turns into an online marketplace. You are literally shopping for which state to live in. I decided to see what this process was like. I too went online shopping and wanted to give up moments into my search. According to IVMF at Syracuse University, there are more than 2 million nonprofits in the US. And out of those, 45,000 self-identify as serving military personnel and their families. Millions of nonprofits to choose from, unvetted. Our Joint Chiefs have literally stated, though good-intentioned, our veterans are drowning in a sea of goodwill. An overlooked barrier we identified centered on identity. Think about it. The first step of transitioning out of the military is securing employment. Therefore, finding a job means so much more. This wasn't a problem that was unique to veterans. Even civilians can relate. Our education, our experiences shape our identity. Imagine you were told, forget who you are, forget what you know. It doesn't translate here. Start over. A 3-year Yale University study, the largest ever conducted across Europe and the United States, found a correlation between unemployment and mortality. Employment is the essential factor of social status. It allows someone to feel like a contributing member of society. When that is taken away, it has implications on one's self-esteem. Findings from this study were so significant, they were used to discuss and inform policy in Europe. Data on what success looked like had to exist. That is when we decided to research local and global veteran preferential hiring programs. The case studies out of some of the Fortune 500 companies, such as ADP, Starbucks, 7-Eleven, just to name a few, revealed they were able to have retention. They had elements of attracting, recruiting, and retaining veterans. And when these employment pipelines were implemented, they also showed success and their sales had skyrocketed. We wondered, there had to be something here. What was the framework that these companies were employing? That is when we literally started to gather data and plug it into a spreadsheet. It revealed 4 quadrants. And those quadrants were simply having a clear path for growth and training, identifying barriers with recruitment and onboarding, leveraging your private-public partnerships, and having an employee resource group. Those were the simple 4 prongs that were necessary in implementation to have a veteran-ready program. We constantly had programs and businesses say, we want to hire veterans, we just don't know what to do. And we plugged in how-tos into this 4-prong model to assist companies of any size in supporting veterans. The research revealed that employing this systemic program would also have an upside to employees who are not veterans. What started off as research in Tennessee slowly unfolded into a nationwide revelation. We need a national standard. Every state should be veteran ready. So I pass this challenge on to you. At the state level, we need to design and prioritize policies that streamline resources and remove barriers to employment. Give credit for relevant military training and education. Create a state employment office that could serve as a buffer and interlocutor for veterans and their spouses so that they could seamlessly move from state to state and be ushered into a direct pipeline for employment. Through the media, help shape the narrative. Showcase our military talent. To the businesses, acknowledge the veteran bias, leverage our military talent. And to those of you who are just like me in the beginning of this journey, I slowly realized this problem was not personal to me. Significant research reveals civilians in the US often forget these are their wars, as well as those who volunteer to fight them. Since wars are no longer fought onshore, society has formed a cognitive dissonance. It's important we take into consideration we have a collective responsibility in achieving an outcome. And though I didn't have the honor of serving, and for those of you who didn't, it's never too late to do your part. Thank you.